Hi everyone, my name is Suman Kher and I'm a soft skills and communication trainer. In 16 years of experience that I have as a trainer, I've trained across locations and industries in the country. This is my first Bringle Live Talk and I'm really excited to be associated with Bringle. And in today's presentation, I would like to talk about 6 tools that you can use in order to make your presentation lively and engaging. Let me begin my presentation by asking you, how many times do you make a presentation? And how many times do you sit through a presentation during your work week? And how many of you find it interesting? I'm sure I can hear a collective groan going there saying, oh, sitting through another presentation is so boring. I want to begin this video with the premise that what if people began their presentations with a magic trick? I'm kidding, but let's see how you can actually create the magic of making a presentation interesting rather than boring. Did you know that Bill Gates actually released mosquitoes from a tiny bottle at the beginning of his TED Talk? And the world champion of public speaking 2016, Darren Tay, started his winning speech by wearing a pair of tidy whities in front of the audience over his immaculate suit. Now, obviously, I am not asking you to wear your underwear in public. Maybe if you're Superman, maybe, but otherwise, I'm just trying to tell you that there are different ways of starting a presentation that can really hold audience attention right at the beginning. So this was actually tool number 1. Find a jaw-dropping moment, okay, which will really capture the attention of the audience right at the beginning of a presentation. Now you can do something which is industry and corporate specific, but you get the drift of it. The second tip that I want to give you is ask questions. How many of you here agree that asking questions really helps? Now, this is a demonstration of a simple question where even a show of hands can actually get people involved, and if their attention is drifting, it's actually going to get them back into the presentation. So that's tip number 2. By the year 2020, more than half the population of the world is going to be on Facebook. Now, this is a staggering statistic, which is also tip number 3, okay? Start with a statistic from your industry, from the world, something that is relevant to what you do as an organization, and try and throw that at the audience. Now, this could work well right at the beginning of a presentation, or even when you start a new point, right? And you try and present sales numbers or marketing figures, you can just throw in a statistic to put your own numbers in perspective. So the third tip is use a staggering statistic. Storytelling. Now, storytelling is a term that's really very cliche. Everybody uses it, but you don't know what stories to use. But number one reason why stories are important is because even when we did not have electricity and our ancestors, had nothing to do, they would sit around a campfire and go ahead and, try and share survival stories with each other to help each other, fight danger and things like that. So storytelling is something that we are primed genetically to respond to. So hence anecdotes, corporate stories, industry stories, there are a lot of things that you can incorporate into your presentation where it breaks the monotony of information that you're giving them, but at the same time a story will obviously get everybody's attention back to what you're trying to say. The next one is summarize. Now, summarize is not something that you need to use only at the end of a presentation, but you can always start by saying, I'm going to cover these 3 points in the course of my presentation. When you finish the first one, you go ahead and tell them, we just saw the first point and now I'm moving on to the second one. And once you finish that, you also point out that you're beginning now with the third point. And once you're done with it, you can tie the points together and say, we looked at 1, 2, 3 points in the presentation. The reason why this works really well is you're not just going on your own trip making a presentation, but you're also taking your audience along through the milestones and telling them this is where we are in the course of the presentation and this is where we're going to go through it. So this works pretty well. I hope you've been able to understand these tips and be able to make use of them, because I am pretty sure that these tips really help in making a presentation interesting and keep the audience engaged. Thank you.